not do snakes. Nope.
Not a fan of the snake.
Yeah. No, in Australia, like, you do not mess with
no,
snakes.
no, Australia. Well, it's like down in Florida now. They're catching all them pythons. I'm like,
Yep.
I'd shoot it. I'd catch it all right. Bang, pick it up.
Really. Yeah, if it were dead.
All right, love, one issue is your face obscured. Do you mind that?
No, I
Are
would
you
just
sure?
put it on you.
100%.
Don't put it on me.
Big Bird Cropper, Craig Cropper. We're rolling off, starting this one off. Salute. Thank you for stopping by. You are Ocean City's local living fishing legend.
Yeah.
He agrees.
I guess so. I had real good teachers back in the day. I mean, when they started the Ocean City Surf Anglers Association, and I was 16-year-old and had a four-wheel drive, yeah, man. And then if you could put up with the old guys playing practical jokes on you. And I didn't mind. I mean, if they didn't catch you paying attention to your rod, they'd go out there and loosen your drag. Mm-hmm. Or they'd go out there and flip your bail open, all your lines going out, and your rod's going crazy. You think you got to, and you go out there going, hey, and oh well.
I'm going to have to pound the dog in a second.
Mm-hmm.
He loves you.
No, he just wants to come and eat you. That's what he wants to do.
All right, that's our resident protector.
Yeah.
I got to do something with him.
I mean, if you
We're pausing now for a commercial for the new Molly's place. Come out and enjoy.
if you want to,
This place is incredible to see, no doubt.
Can I let him out?
are you okay if he has to do the sniff thing?
Go ahead.
And, yeah.
Let the dog,
All right, be
dogs
good.
and me get,
Nice.
Be nice, buddy. Good boy.
All right.
Big Bird.
All right,
Yeah,
so
you do.
You passed the test, Bird.
I get along with animals. I'm not worried about dogs.
Yeah, he's good.
They only bite once.
Well, he has drawn blood. Man, I'm all over the place. Totally out of sorts here, which I
Okay.
say it all the time, but our some people, a few people I know that are listening will know if I say Boardwalk Elvis. Well, Boardwalk Elvis, Ocean City's Boardwalk Elvis, Elvis's brother stopped in right before you were here, and it was good to talk to Josh, but he slowed me down a little bit, so
That's
I'm out of sorts just a little bit. Big Bird, this is the Pitboss podcast brought to you by our good friends at Molly's. I already heard you say that. Molly's Place Sporting Goods is easily found on Route 213 in Kennedyville, Maryland, mymollys.com. Do you know another one of our sponsors?
Oh.
Crabs to Go.
Oh, yeah, John Whitmire and the boys. Best. I mean, if you want quality, you go to Whitmire's.
There you go, Route 50 and 589.
And they still use their grandmother's old soup recipe. You will never find a better. Oh, I love their crab soup. Both of them, the white and the red.
The Maryland.
Yep. My mom loves their homemade coleslaw, and John was nice enough to tell us his tweaking secret of seafood cocktail sauce. So, thank you,
Yeah,
John.
it's really good.
Yep, old school recipes around here.
100%. Next up is Duck Blind Bistro. Love, was it good this morning?
It's good every time, and it's easy. That's why I like it.
Duck Blind Bistro. Guys, thank you very much. John, Paul, and Jay. Next up is it a long list or a short list
Of
sponsors?
it's a dedicated list.
It is, because it's all people that good companies,
That truly
people
support us,
that
yeah.
support us, and we support them, and we use their products. Dirty Duck Coffee.
It's good. It's all good.
It is all good. What are we doing? We're doing Dark Dynasty at the moment?
Yes.
Dark Dynasty at the moment. That's what we had this morning, right?
Yeah.
You make it not as strong as I do, but
Right.
it's still very good.
I like to keep my stomach lining intact.
Yep. And lastly, but not least, Big Bird, you've never met Steve, but you know the boat, the world's largest duck boat, Steve Hoover Duck Water Boats. Steve Hoover, thank you very much. As I take a deep breath, and Duke is
Loving on me.
he is.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Big Bird. We met at the boat ramp. I can't remember how many years ago, but I asked you how do you catch rockfish? In Maryland, we call a striped bass what?
Rockfish. I call it, it's always a joke to me. I mean, I hope I can say this without getting in trouble. But
You can say whatever you like.
well, my wife, I've rode motorcycles around the world, and I've traveled to extensive titty bars here and there. And my wife won't let me go out and play with the strippers no more, so I call the rockfish stripers, stripers, you know. But the rockfish, striped bass. I mean, everybody calls it a little bit different. It's like I love catch October, September is when we get into the red drum around here. Mm-hmm. Well, down south are spot tails. I mean, you know, and I South Carolina, down in them areas when I go down there in the wintertime and I go red drum fishing, and I learn their techniques and tactics down there and bring them up here, and they work. They're down there with like what I would call a freshwater rod up here. You never even think about it. 15-pound test and 34-inch red drum. That's a rush.
Yep.
And I'm doing it up here now. So I'm just trying different things in different places and trying to bring it back here. And a lot of the times it works.
Nice.
Well, where I'm going with this is that you were more than kind to explain to me and show me many different aspects of casting the bridges and the piling or the jetties for rockfish, but you said, do I Roy rig?
Yep.
And I said, what?
Well, like I said before, it's going to different places. Mm-hmm. The Roy rig, actually, I was down in around Lake Okeechobee, riding my Harley around. I mean, I was just freezing time up here. I'm down there. They're having the bass tours down there, and them guys like Harleys. You know, I was like, cool, you know. So I got to know a lot of the big pros. And they were all like, oh, they preached it into your head. All I've ever did is take freshwater techniques to saltwater, and it works. It works real good. And they preached about how presentation was number one. Your presentation is everything when it comes to it. How you tie it on. And when you have a big rubber grub, when your predator fish hits, it hits the head. And if you're after presentation, you say, why you got a long shank hook like this and a 1-ounce grub head? All I did was short shank the hook. So it made that presentation of that tail so much better. And the rockfish love it. It's a riptide salt and pepper tail with a 1-ounce head that I've short shanked. And I've learned it, like I said, I learned it down south and brought it up here, and it went over. I don't know why it works. And now they go all over the place now. I mean, I've sent them to Germany. I sent them to Canada. They're getting walleye on them out in Ohio. I mean, different places, different things down in Florida. My favorite's the cobia, not the cobia, the tarpon. The guy got on a Roy rig, and I'm like, oh, really? I mean, friends of mine going down there, and a lot of times people are traveling, I'll give them a couple of my bumper stickers, and they'll put them up in different places. And the funniest, there's a nudist beach in Key West, and before you walk on the nudist beach, there's a "Do you Roy rig" bumper sticker, and I'm like, that's funny. Oh.
No, they work for us, that's for sure.
Oh yeah,
100%. I even caught a flounder on one.
Yep.
I didn't. If I wanted to be like the rest of the fishermen around here, I kept it to myself, but I was catching so many fish. Everybody was calling me a liar. You're a liar. You're a liar. You can't go out and do that. Yeah, I mean, when I first started working it this way, it was on the Route 50 bridge with a bucktail, putting a chicken breast on it and spraying it with WD-40. Drop it straight down. We were pulling up the wheatfish trout one. You don't even hurt. You'll hear about 5 or 6 every year. Nice ones get caught. And they have made a little comeback this year of what I'm being told, but I haven't caught one yet.
Right.
And I've took the freshwater to the saltwater, and it turned over. It's worked real good. Now I'm even getting into the surface poppers.
Okay.
They got in freshwater. They've always got all these rigs. The deep diving minnows they got that dive down 30 foot. So when you're in a big hole, you can just pull this thing through it, and it's working. You got to change the hooks out and stab yourself 100 times, but you know it still works.
Very cool. Yeah, they go. Sorry.
No, I was going to say. So when we're talking about fishing, your boat is Lost Time, right?
Yes, that was the same name. My grandfather Cropper, that lived right at the end of 589 across the street from the Crabs to Go and the Sitco station there, the old farmhouse that was there. He was 62-year-old when he got his first boat. Lived there all. My dad had a little rowboat growing up. He loved crabbing more than anything, not fishing. But my grandfather, and he went from farming the land to never going fishing. All he used that boat for was to go clamming. So he raked out in the field all day, and he went out and raked in the water. He loved my grandfather. He was 92-year-old, still had me coming over there shucking clams for him because he loved them. But his name of his boat was Lost Time, and I keep the Lost Time for my my grandfather's sake. And then my father had the oil company. He had a symbol called a piece of pie. It's a circle with a piece of pie cut out of it. And he says that was his piece of the pie, was that oil truck. So I put the piece of pie on my boat too.
There you go. Huh.
I'm all about family around here, and family and friends we all got. And back in '63, when one of the major storms hit Ocean City, we had 5 families living in our house.
Wow!
Because everything got washed away. I mean, back in the day, we helped each other out. Well, you're starting to know some of the psycho people around here, like you were saying,
100%.
Norman's brother. But he'll show up here and if you knew you needed something, there'd be a deer sitting here for you. There'd be the people around here take care of one another. That's why that's why everybody starts coming around here now.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of that, obviously Karen is from way down under and definitely not local, but I don't know that there's many people that you could say are local, and you definitely are local.
Well, I don't like the word.
You don't like the word?
I'm a native.
Native. Okay, I'll go with that.
Okay.
I'm a native from here. I mean,
you are native Worcester County.
Oh, yeah.
Not Worcester.
My family goes
Worcester.
back over 200 years.
Okay.
Wow.
And we got a museum down. My uncle Bill Cropper, had a museum 20 miles out of Williamsburg called the Kittywan Estates, and he spent his whole life carrying all these antiques down there. And when he passed away, we had to go down there and carry all the antiques back up here. Oh man! But my sister, she's still got all the grandmothers and all the relatives' recipes and stuff like that. And now when I was born, I had a cleft lip. I've still got my baby straight jacket. I've still got the bottle that my mother used to feed me with. Oh yeah, man, I've got my straight jacket. I used to tell my mom. She goes, "Why do you keep that?" I said, "Because it's my one trip out of jail. I'm going to go in front of the court and say it was the bad way I was playing." She used to crack me up beside the head for saying that shit. I mean, I used to. My mother and I were notorious for playing practical jokes on one another. She'd come home and find Halloween, there'd be 20-some jack-o'-lanterns across the roof of her house.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Now she's right up the road, right?
Yeah, she was. She passed about 5 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
The story that I'm going to go with, I did not know that. I apologize.
Yeah.
The story that I'm going to go with, though, you told me the story about the sheep that were.
Oh, Mom she had a bunch of goats, but she also had these sheep. Prize-winning white goats. It was white goats.
Goats, okay, I'm sorry.
And me and the boys got like I said, practical jokes. I got about $10 worth of food coloring, and we went out there and dyed those goats red and green. And then we burned a spot in the ground, and I was sitting there I was drinking my coffee in the morning going, yeah, phone's gonna ring, What'd you do to my goats? I said, Mom, did you hear about the aliens that landed? I know whose alien ass is gonna be beaten. But then the church group that she was part of that year were all tickled. Where'd you get the pretty Christmas goats? It saved me. Thank you, Lord. You saved me. Because Mom she was mad about that one. Oh, we went out there, and my job was to get, I knew how to rattle. All you had to do was rattle the can of food. They'd come right to you, and we had spray bottles, and we just sprayed these goats. We had the big buck with half and half. One half side green, one half red.
When you say do you have siblings, right?
Oh, I've got my dog. I've got one little girl.
Oh, your daughter.
Yeah, she'll be 20. She ain't little no more. She's doing good. Now, when I say I got a bunch of friends of mine. If it's a good practical joke, now the veterinarian up the street here, Jimmy Triggle, we play jokes on him every so often, too.
Okay. Hopefully we'll get to meet him.
A few of us got together and did the mailbox. His mailbox got destroyed in front of his house. So we had an outhouse made up and put it out there at first. It stayed there forever. But when we took the Ken Barbie and the girl Barbie and put them inside, all painted up, and one had a little in her hand, and there was one outside with a frying pan. That was all good and fun because Jimmy saw it, was going up to the house to tell his wife. Well, then, like everything else, he had company show up, some higher elite type people. And here they stand. Well, here come his wife in going, Jimmy, did you see what's in the mailbag? And he had these little kid and Barbie. priceless. He still ain't caught us yet, but he wants to know who did that so bad. But none of us tell.
I want to get back to lost time. You fish. Well, you're not today just because it's very inclement weather, right?
Yeah.
We are sitting here in the outdoor studio, which actually, the way that the east wind is kind of, we're good.
Oh, this place is beautiful, man. You're doing very well.
Thank you. You're very kind. We're going to get back to that because there's something in there I want to talk about. But you fish every day.
I mean, everybody, it's not a job, it's a hobby. I just love doing it. I've worked, my life to get to the point where everything was paid off and all I got to do. I would make it a career if I could pass that captain's test, but I'm dyslexic. I can't read. You are not going to get that captain's test.
I'm dyslexic too. That's what I tell Karen all the time. And she says I'm not. I am.
Yeah.
I am.
He's not.
I am. And
everybody knows when I do it, if I write a 9, I'll write a 9 backwards every time. And then if I'm going somewhere or I might be doing something, I'll catch myself doing just totally backwards.
100%.
But 100%. It's okay. I don't bother me none. Except for I'd like to be able to take people. I got so many people that call me every other day to want to go fishing, and I got to explain to them, I'll take you fishing, but you can't pay me for fishing. You give me money for any other reason you want, but you can't give me money for fishing.
Right. Compensation.
And I don't want to be stuck. I mean, you got too many great captains around here. Jason Mumford you guys, when you were taking people fishing, still there's just, and we get stepped on down here like a redheaded step. We've always have. The jobs that I've had, I could have drove to the city and made $50 an hour, but I'm making $14.50 because you live down here. Right. They always say it's so cheap, Lana. How is it cheap to live in a resort town?
No, it's not. No.
I could not ever afford to take my daughter and wife to Ocean City for a weekend or something. But there is a lot of stuff down here that you can do that don't cost nothing. So
Yep.
Our favorite time is, it used to be, and I have no idea who she was, but the little meter lady would sit in the booth. She'd be asleep when we come. She'd be asleep when we come back.
The inlet parking.
But basically, when they took the booze away and you did not have to pay for parking, that's when we thought it was safe to go to Ocean City.
Yeah.
But,
like right now, we got Fireman Weekend. We got the June Bugs in town. We got, and it's from now on. It's every weekend. There's a festival.
Yep.
I can wake up on a Friday or Saturday morning. There's people camping out in my yard. I don't care. I got a nice farm. They want to camp out. I got one couple that come down. He had 4 kids and she had 3 kids, and then they found each other. And when that pack comes,
that's a whole tribe.
But they don't buy. They just want a place to stay. Where they like coming in October too for when they have the haunted houses and the haunted trails and stuff like. They rather come down here and enjoy themselves and be up in Pennsylvania. So they're somewhere in PA. They always invite me up, but it's hard to leave here.
Yeah, no, it is. It's
too nice.
It is nice. It's grown so much, though, even in a short amount of time I've been here.
You should hear my 90-year-old father talk about how it's grown and stuff. Now, that's some incredible stories. And so, like all the old farm equipment. I still have. It's at my dad's farm. And I've got to go up there and I take care of it every year. I got to get his 1942 Ford tractor running every year. And he rides around on it with a 20-gauge single shot and shoots groundhogs. That's Daddy. That's my old man. I love him to death, man. He is the hardest man I've known all my life.
Where's that at? Where does he live?
Stephen Decatur High School.
Oh, wow.
Out there in the middle of that field.
Oh.
My sister and her husband, James, they live out there in another house, but my dad's got the big house out there. Okay. He's got a barn, and inside that barn is all the old farm equipment, all the old harness, everything. And I take care of it. And, like I said, every year when he comes down in Florida, in Fort Myers where he lives, he's got a golf cart.
Okay.
And he goes everywhere around his golf cart. Up here, he's got a 1942 Ford tractor.
I told Karen we need a golf cart here. She's not quite on board with it yet, but
no, got to walk.
Yeah. So we got the Roy rig. You developed that. What other fishing lures, tackle are you working on?
Okay, with the Roy rig, when I made the mold for the Roy rig, I actually messed up because it's just under an ounce. It's not really an ounce; it's under an ounce. And then I've short shanked a 1/2 ounce, and I've hooked up with Rumblefish down in Ocean City. He says if I have any ideas, he'll make it. Well, you know me, I try to help if I can help the
100%,
business out.
100%.
I want everybody to make money, just like I want everybody to catch a fish. I can go out and catch a fish anytime I want. Don't buy. I mean, I can prove it. Have done it several times on TV shows and everything else. But I'd like to. You give me a kid ain't never caught a fish before. I'm gonna have a ball with this child. By the time I get done, he's got a new hobby. Oh man,
That's cool.
Well, you've done it. You toss that Roy rig in there and twitch it around. I mean, you might catch something big. You might just catch them.
You had a ball with me the first time you put me in the bow of your boat because I was like, "Holy moly, Karen! Wait till Karen gets here to do this."
It worked. And like I said, even watching Scotty come as far as he had. Scotty never fished like this when we first got going, but now he's got his own tackle line and everything. And but I've had Rumblefish make me up some of these short shanks, and I've had him. He's just come out with it for the boys on 50 Bridge. Now the boys up on 50 last night, they were up there in the middle of that storm.
Yeah, man.
Went 30-mile-an-hour wind, raining like devil. They're still catching 33-inch bluefish.
Really?
29. I got Sean that fishes with me in my boat all the time. He's an avid bridge fisherman and kayak fisherman. And he was up there last night. I got pictures of him, 29-inch rock, 33-inch blue. The big blues were up there last night, and Rumblefish has made them a heavier head, an ounce and a half ounce with a short shank hook.
When the tide's running.
Because like when those fish hit, every predator fish hit, when they hit it in the head. So why you've got to hook this long when you're worried about presentation?
Yeah.
It just made sense.
Huh.
And the boats were drag. Well, I thought I hurt the dog.
No, you're.
It's your chair.
It's the chair squeaking. No, we're messing with the stretch lures quite a bit. There's only one area by the 50 Bridge that's deep enough to play with these things, and we go back there with their great big stretch lures that you're supposed to go out in the ocean and drive 6 knots or whatever, and just drag them behind the boat, and the fish will come up and hit it. And I got my hands on one. I'm like, well, let's give this a try. Well, I use it like a freshwater jerk bait.
Yep.
Because you're trying in a short. Those things work better when you got them 150 yards out behind you. I ain't got that much line on my reel, so we're got them out 50 or 60 yards, and you're trying to drive this thing into the. Everybody sees Sean when he's working, he's snatching and yanking. You're trying to use that as a freshwater jerk bait. It's once again, like I say, you bring freshwater. When I got people don't go fish with me, they say, "Oh yeah, we freshwater fish all the time. Can you cast a worm?" Yeah, well you can do this too. I mean, and back when I was doing it, nobody ever taught us about the bump. You can be sitting there in your lines back there and you think you hit the bottom. No, you missed the fish. It's a little in the wintertime, it actually just feels like they're just sucking on it. But in the summertime, it's actually a hit. That little pop. When you feel that pop, you've got to set the hook. If you don't set the hook, they're gonna eat it, feel the steel of that hook, and they're gonna spit it out.
And that's for striper.
Stripers, bluefish. Not only will they'll hit your lure and you'll miss them, they'll steal your tail too.
Right.
And then when you get it up and you're looking at it, you're like, you got a bite mark here and a bite mark here, and the hook's here, and then the tail's missing. Well, you had to. I mean, if they got it up there, they had it in their mouth.
Yeah, that's some fun.
For those who are listening, when you say the 50 Bridge or the Route 50 Bridge, that is U.S. Route 50, which starts in Washington, D.C. and ends right here. Well, not right here, but right over there in Ocean City.
No.
No?
No.
It does
Route
not.
50 starts in Ocean City, Maryland, and ends in Sacramento, California.
It
As
does.
you're coming out of Ocean City, there's a great big sign that says 2,320-some miles to Sacramento, California.
I have seen that sign.
I have seen that sign.
And there's one in California.
All right.
That says just now. I might say the name wrong over there in California, but I got buddies of mine that's got pictures of both ends when they're coming out. And my mother always wanted to travel it.
Oh, wow.
She always, but I'm like, Mom, let's take Route 10 across. Let's take one of these other routes across. Not 50.
50,
but,
yeah. That would be kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Take 50 straight. You start out in Ocean City and end up in another spot. Right on Route 50. It's got to be it's like Route 66 back in the day and stuff like that.
I'm sure with Google Maps these days, you could probably pull up an image of that, Route 50 in Sacramento.
Route 40 starts in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and it ends in San Francisco.
There you go.
Maybe not the most traveled highway in some spots.
Well, nowadays, heck, it's just like the roads around here. They've named them so many different names. Old 13 used to be a major route. Now as you got the bypass around Berlin and stuff, nobody ever uses that no more. So
I tried to tell Karen that some of those roads, I was like, can you believe this was like, so right up here at Peerless, right? The first road we crossed, so that's the old 113. I was like, it was a single lane highway. Can you imagine all the traffic north and south on that road?
Well, how about the road now before Route 50 got built? You only had the road that was behind Whitmire's. And my grandfather would talk about when the town of Ocean City was burning down, and the Berlin fire truck, the oldest one they got, was going down the dirt road to go help put the fire out in Ocean City.
707.
There is incredible stories that my father, to hear my father tell the stories about driving the school bus into Ocean City till you hear the fan hit. Locking arms, getting people off, and propane bottles sizzling, going by you and stuff, because the town was underwater. I don't know if I'll see it before I'm dead and go, Ocean City's going to sink. I mean, I've seen it. What? You'll have waterfront property. Well, there you go.
We won't, because we won't be there. But yeah, that's what it says. Like, yeah, we're gonna one good wave, and we would be
and waterfront.
At Pintail, we'd have.
Pintail will be under 2 at that point.
Well, probably, yeah.
Oh, Pintail. Oh, yeah. Ocean Pines.
Yeah, Ocean Pines will be.
So our first floor on Pintail, medium. Can you say that for me?
Medium?
Like the median, not medium, but median. Median.
Oh, median.
Yeah, I just said it right, didn't I?
Yes.
Median.
Yes,
median high tide. I'm sorry. Yes, let me slow down. The median elevation the elevation of our finished first floor, where Gam happens to be currently by herself.
Really?
Yeah, she won't come over yet. But anyway, the median, did I say it right? Mm-hmm. High tide is 7.2 feet above the median high tide. So the finished floor elevation here is 21 feet. So above sea level. So
waterfront. That's what we're saying.
It is low.
Property values just went up.
Bird, you have a bottle cap in your hand. Are you going to do anything with that?
Well, back when I was long distance riding on my Harley.
All right, I'm going to stop everyone and say, if you're listening to this on any of the podcast platforms, you need to go to YouTube right now so you can witness the most incredible, well, maybe not the most incredible feat, but one of the most incredible feats that I've seen.
Well, back when, like I said, I was long distance riding and helped my mom take care of 200,000 chickens. If you ran your hands through the chicken feed and stuff, it toughened them up, and working out on the highways like I did and everything. Well, I was in the Keys at the Hog's Breath Saloon, and there was one of those, mountain climber guys. He goes, well, I'll bet you a drink you can bend this bottle top. Well, I was a big bad biker, I'll take this challenge. I can't be a biker because I ain't got no tattoos, but
we don't either.
Yeah.
We don't either.
But and he come up and he took this bottle top, and I went, oh, you mean bend it? And I was getting ready to bend it the easy way. Oh, no. He wants you to put the sharp edges against your fingers like this and drive your thumb through the middle. And I'm like, ow, 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 ow. And of course, I lost that bet, but then it was a challenge. And I got to the point where I can, you got to do it.
It's incredible.
Until it clicks. And
that's crazy.
And I have drank, once I learned how to do it, I have drank free in Ocean City for years. If I wanted to beer in Ocean City, I could go down there. I might have to buy the first one. And, now, different beers are different strength. Now, Coors Light, I can make them like that one. I can make that look pretty good. A Heineken, I had a $100 bet on that one night, and I was bleeding out of my hand. Now, if you can see my fingers, you can see it chews you up.
It does chew them up.
But it don't buy. I mean, like, I've done it so many times that. And if you get down around the clubs and stuff, and they're like, they're going to beat you up or something, you sit here and bend, and then you show them one, oh, you're a tough guy. No, I got tough hands, man. That's
yeah, I'd be taking bets. You can make some money on that.
Oh, I've won quite a bit.
I bet you have.
The scaredest I think it was the Redskins were in Ocean City at the, I don't remember what bar, but I walked in, there was a bunch of the Redskins player, and it was at Clam. It was at the Bearded Clam. And Jeffy, the doorman, he nudges me, want to have some fun? Yeah, I knew what he was up to. He was setting these guys up. He got me a Coors Light, and I bent one, and I tossed it in front of the guy. And they put a beer, whatever beer bottle he wanted, and they're all like, ow, 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 ow. And I went through and I did every one of the football players. Oh, they were mad at me, man. Oh, you're some tough guy. No, I just got tough hands, man. But like I said, one of the mountain climber guys, he was the one that first got me, and I just kept messing with it till I figured out how to. It's just, you got to pressure through the
mind over matter, and it don't matter.
Yeah, mind don't matter. I don't got the mind.
So again, I'm going to tell everyone, if you're listening to this on any of the podcast platforms, you got to go to YouTube and check that out. So
yeah,
incredible.
Yep, let's
Bird,
see everyone's efforts.
No, heck, I enjoy myself. Like I said, I've done it so long, and it's funny because if I line my fingers up, you can see the bottle top. Oh man, like, doing highway work, I never was hired for my mind. I was always hired for my back. Bulkheading in Ocean City for years. Different job. My first job was behind Hooper's. There was Elliott Sports Marina.
Okay.
And
is that like Elliott's Hardware, and they have,
no, that's a different brand of Elliott's.
Okay.
Elliott's Hardware used to be right down the street in the old shopping plaza until they got the new business. Okay. Back when he had the skateboarding dog.
Oh,
they had a dog that would ride a skateboard across the parking lot.
I don't think I saw that.
No, I haven't seen that.
That's old school back in the day. Back when the boys used to play long distance frisbee in that parking lot.
Oh, really?
At night when nobody else was there and they had the lights on, these boys would be out there with these glow in the dark frisbees, and they would chunk it a mile.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
All of us, if you wanted to make a couple bucks at the Francis Scott Key, you could work a little bit at night, and then all of us went up there and jumped off 50 Bridge at night. That's where the sign came from. There's a newspaper article with a man around here named B.O. Oliver. We called him B.O. And when he jumped off the bridge, somebody snapped a picture, and it looks like he's standing on a seagull in the picture. And it went national. That picture went all over the place, in Baltimore and stuff like that. So
I'll have to Google that one, too.
Karen never got to see Shantytown.
No.
Oh, you would have loved Shantytown.
Yeah, she never got to see Shantytown.
That's a shame. The money moved in. Where all the millionaire houses are on the one end, my father was offered that property to pay off an oil bill one time.
Oh, wow.
And he goes, back then it didn't have no electric, no sewer, no nothing. So yeah, it was worthless. But then when they put it in, it's worth millions now. So
Shantytown the piece of property would be just as you're going into Ocean City, it would be just on the south side or the right hand side of the Route 50 bridge.
Oh yeah.
So basically where that court is, we go up where there used to be no houses. We would go look at the Brant in the wintertime because the Brant would be hanging out there.
Yep.
Now there's no place for the Brant to hang outside.
Yeah. They'll find a new place.
Speaking of Brant,
Hopefully.
Bird, are you a duck hunter?
Used to be, yes.
And why?
Avid duck hunter.
And why did you have to quit?
Because I sold my 4-wheel drive truck.
Oh, that's not what I wanted to hear.
Why? Why did you think?
I quit because I couldn't tell. If that duck coming in, he died. I'd blow him out of the sky.
That's what I want to hear. What's the black duck limit? I don't know.
That black duck and that female Howard, however you can tell them apart. I know it's just that little stripe of. I'd blow him out of the sky and go, I shouldn't have killed that one. And I'd throw him in the bag.
Oh, no.
Bag limits back then, though, you could go down. We used to just drive down to Assateague. Now, I knew the Rangers all on a personal. I brought the donuts. They supplied coffee. We'd sit there and have donuts and coffee in the morning. I'd go to a duck blind. And Harry Trimble, he was one of my, the nickname Big Bird came from the Berlin Fire Department. He was the assistant chief, and Phil Simpson, a state trooper, was the chief. And on meeting nights, I would ride a 9-foot-long 1959 Harley Davidson to the meetings, and I was living on the corner of 589 and 50. The fire whistle went off. I had just started the panhead up. It's running. Man, I jumped on that thing. It was an auto wreck down right on the county line, and I had 2 troopers chasing me down 50 going in, and then they realized who it was and stuff. All they did was told the chief, tell that cropper boy slow that panhead down, and I thought it was like, this is pretty cool. I got a chop there. Oh.
Karen has a question.
What's a panhead?
Oh, it's when you got different, it's an older Harley Davidson. Okay. The top of the motors on a Harley tells you what it is. The newer ones, they call them blockheads because it looks like a concrete block. The panhead, it actually looks like a pan. Okay. So.
The head's where the valves would be.
Yeah.
So the piston would go up and compress the air into the head.
Okay.
I've seen guys pull the top of the pan off, clean it up, and cook with it, and put it back on their bacon. I've seen that. I think they're crazy, but hey, we ate stew that night. I mean,
sure tasted all right.
So you kind of already said it, but I did want to ask, where did Big Bird come from?
Berlin Fire Department.
As well as Yellow, as well as the Suspenders.
Well, the Berlin Fire Department, it was about the same time I was getting initiated in. They had an arsonist in Ocean City. Every Friday and Saturday night, you were going to a fire. He was going into these, not abandoned, but closed up hotels for owner, roll a ball of glass down it, set it on fire. We'd have to go there and put fire out. Well, Ocean City would show up first. Then he'd call in Berlin for assistance. And Ocean City is notorious for putting up a fence. You got a balcony out of the back of your house, and you got this privacy fence. So you can sit out there in the sun and everything else the way you want. Well, they needed that fence out of the way. Well, I had a Scott pack and a diamond tip chainsaw, and I ran down and took this fence out of the way. And when it fell, they put all the water onto the fire, and the fire came at me, and there was a great big sand dune there. So I just jumped off into the sand dune, and of course the assistant chief and the chief looked up and said it just looked like a big effing bird. And that's one of the stories. The other stories was when I got initiated into the fire department, which I ain't going to talk about because I'm not supposed to talk about it, but I weren't fit for nothing. My four-wheel drive Ford pickup had great big tires on it. Well, I got tired of them messing with me, so I crawled underneath my pickup. I was puking into the rim of my pickup and sleeping under my truck when they drug me out. But when they found me, I had my arms on the tire like this, puking into it. And they're like, "Look like a big bird."
So
there's a couple of stories how I got the nickname.
Okay, take your pick.
Yeah.
Suspenders.
Found them. It was I had a different type that I wore for a while that were bright yellow. And then I found the ruler one. I like them better because I tell everybody my fish are all legal, because I can strike. Everybody thinks that's funny, but the game warden.
Have you actually used them to measure?
Actually, they're pretty close.
Really?
Yeah. I have never really. I got a tape measure I can put my hands on most of the time, or. My guy I went to high school with is actually a game warden around here, and he let me have one of the older, I forget the name of that measuring board they call it. It's the perfect board for measuring, and if I'm going to be measuring fish, I want it right.
Yeah.
$500 a fish and taking all your money and your gear, and no. I'll just stay legal. It's easier that way because everybody gives me grief because I don't eat my fish.
Well, I was gonna ask you, how do you like to cook your fish?
I don't.
Well, I know that, but I was gonna ask you how.
I understand.
What's your favorite?
No, I'm not. My father was a big time fish eater. When I was surf fishing all the time, the greatest trip I ever had was down in the Outer Banks. There's a flounder run that I heard about, and I told my dad about it. My dad goes, "If you think you can go down there and get flounder, go." So I went down and filled a good-sized igloo cooler with just baggies of fillets. Came all iced down, and I was the hero. I got home, the old man shucks out $200, says, "Go back and do it again." And I mean, he loved fish.
Flounders.
So I mean, we
Delicious.
were eating. I mean, we ate so much. I got an uncle. Everybody around here, they call him Big Dave, but Dennis Murray. I mean, we're like brothers. We're only 10 months apart in age, and him and I almost sunk. He had, what was that? I can't remember the type of boat he had, but we almost sunk the boat with all the trout and the hardhead we caught. But then we were up till 1 o'clock in the morning cleaning all these trout and hardhead. We knew not to do that trick no more. Man, we cleaned so many. The boat was right at the water's edge when we brought it. Back then, we kept everything. But it was like I say, when you get to know a lot of people around here, we gave a rockfish away the other day to a couple. I mean, we don't care. I mean, I'd rather see people enjoy them.
Yep.
My sister, she'll get red drum trout. She loves them.
Nice.
But I have no problem getting rid of fish, and I've never seen bluefish so popular.
Really?
This time of year, I could make a couple extra bucks because they used to have the Mako-Mania, the shark tournaments and stuff.
Yes,
but you can't
good
do
bait.
it no more.
Yep.
Oh, them boys wanted them bluefish, but now the guys going out for the tile
Tile gold.
fish.
Yep.
That's
They
like,
are good.
Deep dropping.
They love bluefish.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Oh
okay.
man, the boys going out. I can be at the gas station, and if they know I got blues, the boys are meeting me. They're getting them blues that are going after them tile fish the next day. Because you're so deep and they're so oily.
Bluefish. You and Sean did pretty good, right? Recently.
The blues for DU fishing tournament.
Yes, sir.
We got third last year, and we pulled off first this year. Sean did.
Very cool.
When we fish in my boat, we on a tournament, especially, we fish as a team, so we can both celebrate. If I win, he wins. Just like Scott Lennox's Inshore Classic, we won that last year, and well, I won. He got the winning rockfish. I got the second place rockfish, but still, yeah. But the blues for DU, that's one of Scott's.
Yep, that's a shirt.
That's one of his shirts.
Yeah, there you go.
And but yeah, we just won the blues for DU. We had a 12-pound 1-ounce blue.
Wow.
We were over by the 50 bridge. Everybody was dropping live spot and pulling dredges, and I'll put a 3-ounce sinker above my Roy rig and drop it back. I think that works just as good as live spot. But I said, man, they're just catching these little ones here. We weren't after it, so we went to a couple old spots that, I mean, the thing about Ocean City is you got a favorite spot you fished. You might want to move down 10 foot or move up 10 foot. Them spots move a little bit, but you still got to move with it. And so we went over by the South Jetty, and sure enough, I mean, his third cast, Sean hooked up, rod double over. What was it? 34-inch blue.
Wow.
12.1 pounds.
Fun.
And he learned all sorts of new words. Oh, yeah. Well, he took the winnings of the Inshore Classic, his side of the winnings, and bought me a trolling motor, $6,000 trolling motor.
Oh,
I'm like, and it has me, and I got to admit, I weren't happy with it. I weren't going to do it, but it's made from fishing and me having to drive all the time to fishing on a platform. You're actually concentrating.
Nice.
And he actually got into the back end of the boat, and every time that you'd see this big blue come up and roll and take off, and he woo 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 woo. I mean, his rod was doubled. It was screaming because you've got so many factors working against you when it comes to bluefish, because you're hooked up to this one and everybody's like, oh, he's got teeth, he's going to bite you off. That's not what you got to worry about. It's that other bluefish that's going to come dry and try to steal. It's like they're like seagulls. They're going to fly around and try to steal each other's food.
Okay.
And one of the old tricks that my grandfather used to do was, if you got a nice blue, you took a steel leader and you hooked it to his face and threw it out there on a rope. Wherever that was swimming around, four or five others would come up and join them.
Huh.
And I've got pictures of with 20 and 30 bluefish just spread out in the front of my boat, because we've tied one on and just sit there and pulled it. You took every one of them.
Wow. That's cool.
That's when the limit was 10. Now we can only catch 3. So.
Really? On blues?
Wow,
3?
Yeah, on blues.
We are so out of touch, love.
Yeah, we really are. We haven't fished in forever.
Well, it's every time the state comes down here, they told it like the rockfish limit this year. They come down and says, oh, we're going to take 3 inches. No, they took 4 inches. I mean, we've got from 28 inch to 31 inch, we got a small gap in there that you can keep that fish. And when you're pinching the tail and you're closing it's a trip to do, but
But they're there. They are there.
oh yeah,
in
the
Ocean
fish are
City.
here.
Yeah.
But and like I say, it's so sad how the Eastern Shore gets stepped over. Yeah, I mean we got the largest white marlin turnaround. You never see the big people here for it. I mean, and we're the highest paid one out there, so. Which is okay with me, because there's enough boat traffic out there now. I always joke about the Pennsylvania Navy that comes down here. Yeah, buddy, I've gotten a lot. Lennox's first year of the tournament, I made a joke one year on Scott Lennox's TV show about you could walk across the bay with the Pennsylvania Navy. And guys showed up from PA that we know wearing shirts that say, representing the Pennsylvania Navy. And I loved it, man. Around here, if people don't pick on you, they don't like you. If they like you, you're going to know it, because they're like, hee, let's see if we can get over on them. So.
Your trolling motor.
Yes.
And this has been a topic Karen and I have talked about before. I'm thinking that possibly that could change the way that I sea duck hunt.
I bet.
Where if I got that,
yes,
I wouldn't have to ever anchor my boat again.
Never have to anchor.
It's been something. It's been on our radar. We really haven't investigated a whole lot, just because we got 62 other things. That's
I can
more
tell
important.
you this. I will let you know how mine holds up. Okay. It is a lot of care. I love my trolling motor. I'm disappointed the way it's put together because it's all these real thin. I mean, you're dealing with electricity and salt water. That's the biggest no-no out there.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the wiring that's in it and stuff like that. We'll see how long it lasts. And I'm putting mine to work. I'm working it, and it's a lot of you got to clean it, you got to lube it. And I do it every night.
So for those who have no idea what we're talking about, because this is the way I talk to Karen all the time, we're like she should know what I'm talking about. When you say trolling motor, what are we truly talking about?
It's like I say all the time, it's your freshwater coming to saltwater. You've seen trolling motors on the freshwater boats all the time. Well, now they brought it to saltwater. It's an extra motor on your boat, which I truly love because I'm notorious for going out there around the South Jetty, the North Jetty, getting in there by the rock pile because that's where all your bigger flounder, your bigger sheep's head, your toe tog and stuff like that, they're in those rocks. Well, anchoring up and trying to get there, and then you're still scared to death. This is a motor that when you hit that little anchor button, that spot lock, it's going by GPS. And it literally, the weirdest thing I'm still trying to get used to is when I'm coming up like 50 Bridge. I'm coming up near the bridge and the current's running real hard, and you got to watch how fast you're actually moving. You got to make sure that your speed that you're moving drops down low, because if you lock it too soon and you're moving, it'll back you back up. It'll move you around until it gets you spot locked right where you hit that button. And it's made a big difference. Me flounder fishing, I'm waiting for a few turns. I've always come in 5th, 6th, 2nd, never got a first in a flounder tournament. I'm gonna work on them this year.
There you go.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, I would like one just to be able to do the inshore reefs.
Yeah,
and just sit out there because those tile fish, they're everywhere out there.
When I got here and I was watching you set all this up, I'm like, oh, way out of my league. But I mean, and it's take this type of technology onto your boat, and boom, I mean, you touch a button, and they got a thing called jockey. Say like you're right over top the reef, but you're not right where you want to jockey 5 foot one way or 5 foot or up or back. All you do is hit this button, and it just moves you. It doesn't come off anchor; it just moves you. There's a lot that I haven't learned.
And you say about $6,000?
Oh yeah. No, I've got the big one.
Okay.
There ain't no bigger one, and everybody. I hope they have trolling motor drag races, because man, I could take that, I think. And and with me, I like shallow water so much.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've got it. The last time I had neighbor Dave with me the other day, and it was a treat because Dave don't get to fish with me as much ever since he married his bride and the 13 grandkids they have. He went from never having kids to having 13 grandkids.
Wow,
man, he loves it. I've never seen the boy so happy, but he finally took some time and we went fishing. We were out there all day, and I spent $10 in gas.
Oh, wow.
Because all we did was run the trolling motor around. I mean, he wanted to stay by the bridge, do a lot of Roy rigging. Dave was with me. He can make, I still say to this day, neighbor Dave can make a prettier Roy rig than me. He always has. He can pull one out pretty. And him and I, we used to sit down and watch Jerry Springer together all the time at a night before he was married. We'd sit there and make Roy rigs all night, and just we actually wanted to see how high we could make the pile. And then I'd have to bag them, because I custom sharpen all my hooks. That's the one thing I'm religious about. I custom sharpen every Roy rig hook, and that's why I got put a little protective tube on it, because I custom sharpen. You still drive by on a fishing hook.
A protective what?
A protective tube.
I'm going to ask you again. A protective what?
Yeah, protected condom.
There you go.
Yep. Some of the stores around here, I used to have to take a magic marker and mark the word condom off. They wouldn't carry it in the store. Which I did. Hey, you're still something. No problem, man. It'd take me a second to wipe that word condom.
So all the ones that you can buy in the store, you've personally sharpened all of those?
Yes.
Wow.
Everybody gets mad at me because they're never in the store. You know how long it takes me to sharpen 1,000 hooks and then make 1,000 Roy rigs and then and I'm not doing it for the job. I ain't never made a money on that Roy rig, but I made a lot of kids catch fish. I want to see everybody hook up and the grin on their face. And I've gotten into more light tackle, going down instead of 30-pound test, going down to 20-pound test. The only reason I use 30 by the 50 bridge is because when you're in between all them pillars, you've got to get them out. Then you can have fun. But if you're out by the rock power stuff, you can fight them a little more. The largest ever caught on the Roy rig was my 53 inch. I got a 53 inch.
It's a hog.
Oh yeah, had to throw it back. Begged the game warden. My buddy blocks him. Blocks him. The game warden blocks him. I was talking with him, and I said, "Man, how much for me? How much would it have been for me?" He goes, "For you, $250 fine," and I still took the
Take
fish.
the fish.
Yeah.
Don't get the kipper.
Thank you very much.
They're my buddies, man. I love it. But yeah, I mean, I threw it back, but I know where he is. I know where they get them I know where those big ones are every year, but it's right in the middle of their spawn, and where they spawn, this area, they won't bite much. How I got him to bite that, he was through the spawn. He was already, she was already empty and everything. It was a great fish, but and Sean was with me. He's got one of the funniest videos you'd ever seen. Me trying to, I wish he'd kept videotaping, but I'm glad he netted the fish for me. But
Very cool.
Love, what is your best rock pile story with us?
Me?
Yeah, we were anchored up fishing, and what happened? We're ready to go. We're
oh.
ready to leave, and what happened?
We talking about the cable?
Yes.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, my gosh. Yeah,
Good.
just trying to pull the anchor up, and, suddenly it just got really, really heavy, and we could not get it up. There was some old cable.
We were in the old Banks boat.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Over at the rock pile at the turtle hump. Over
Yeah,
there.
turtle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Whew.
And I didn't want to. I wasn't going to lose my anchor.
Nope.
I got it up enough, and I tied this thing off to the cleat, which I thought the cleat was. It's
gonna get ripped off.
It's a polymer cleat. It's not metal. I thought I was going to rip the cleat off. We towed that thing how many yards up into
To get that little cove, the beach
the first
cove.
little cove.
Yeah.
And finally got that thing up. It was like an inch. It had to be an inch in diameter cable. I don't know what was on the other end, but what I wanted you to say is what happened.
You didn't lose your mind?
That's what I wanted you to say.
I
That's what
thought
I
he
wanted
was
you to
gonna.
say.
Thought he was gonna have a Jeffrey meltdown, but
I
he
didn't.
didn't. Oh, I was shocked.
I wanted my anchor back.
yeah, that was crazy.
I
really-
catch 4 or 5 every year. 4 or 5 anchor. I catch a line, pull it up. Oh, here's an anchor. I mean,
I was not losing my anchor that day.
No, there's some good rocks down in there. Would be interesting to see
But-
some footage.
but like I say, that with the trolling motor, the spot lock. I mean, boom, that takes the anchor, and I got the self-deploying one. I don't have to walk up to the front of my boat and lift it over and put it in. I just push a button, it puts
Wow.
itself in.
Man.
So maybe that's the way to go, because I was thinking about, like, I always anchor from the, if I'm going to use a conventional anchor, I anchor from the stern, right? So I was thinking, like, having this thing on the back of the boat, is it going to work? But maybe that's the way to go.
And like I did with mine, I got blessed and lucky with mine because I didn't take into account that I'm dropping 100 pounds on the bow. I mean, boom. And then when you're loading, you got to make sure where you put it. When you load it up on that, it's not going to hit the winch or any of this stuff. And I got lucky because I never thought about that till I unloaded the boat. And I'm like, oh man, that's going to be pretty cool. But I drive my boat like you do.
Yeah.
I drive my boat on. So
Well, and being a creature of habit, I thought the same thing. It's like, man, I'd really like to do, like, I got it down, and I do it the same thing every day. I was like, I really can't have this big piece of, what's the shaft on the thing, 7 feet long? 6 feet?
oh yeah,
Yeah, this big old thing hanging off the boat. First off, for the money, I can't damage it, and secondly, I don't want it to like disrupt the way that I do things.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the quietness now.
Oh,
I just did this hooked on. I just did the episode with Scotty. He got up with me. He was in trouble. He'd been on 3 different fishing trips. I hadn't caught nothing. I gotta catch a fish. I said, well, I really don't want to go to 50 Bridge again. I mean, 50 is always, you can always find something around 50. I said, let's go to the Verrazano Bridge down by Assateague. And because I weren't good with the trolling motor at all then, and I didn't want all the current.
Sure.
And I wanted to be able, and it was just, it's so quiet. You're sneaking up, you're literally sneaking up on the fish more. You're not making blah, 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 blah. You just got this trolling motor, and it's made it, it's made a difference.
Huh. How long does it take to charge?
Now I've got the one that you got to get 3 batteries with.
Okay.
Like I'm way overkill, but I've been out so many times.
Talk amongst yourselves. This is a phone call I have to take. I'm sorry.
Good, bro.
Good afternoon.
Every time I come in, I haven't even barely got to half use of the batteries.
Oh, yeah.
So I just plug it in, and within 4 or 5 hours, most time they're charged back up. I'm ready to
Okay.
go back out again. So. And when I come in, I just plug it. And When I got it, it's a battery charger and tender. So it charges your battery up, but it also keeps them tended.
Okay.
So if you leave it plugged in for days, it don't matter. It's just it kicks on and off.
And like, did you get it locally, or was it who's the dealer that you get it from?
I'm good friends with Brian Mente down at Sunset Provisions.
Okay.
And Brian, he ordered it for us.
Okay.
I mean,
and you can install it yourself, or do you have to have someone?
Well, neighbor Dave, that's my old partner. He's the one that installed it for me because he works at Oceanic Boat Works.
Oh, okay.
And like they're the one. Dave's the one that keeps my motor running.
Okay.
Back when neighbor Dave fished with me all the time, when I first got this boat, I had a 90. I blew it up. I had another 90. I blew it up, and then I got a 50 horsepower, and this old 70-something 1950 outboard motor that neighbor Dave kept alive.
Okay.
I mean, if the current was going at the inlet really hard or coming in really hard, you weren't going. But where I just go up around the 50 bridge, the rock pile stuff, I mean, every so often I might ride up the Route 90 bridge or the Verrazano bridge, but it's just as easy for me to drive the boat to Ocean Pines and unload it there and you're right there at 90 Bird, the Verrazano Bridge.
Okay.
Like the ramp is right next to it.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just as easy to ride we have hit Verrazano Bridge and weren't fishing very good. Went to the 50 bridge, went up to the other parking lot, launched the boat again, weren't doing up there, and then went to 90 Bridge. We fished all 3 bridges and used all 3 ramps at one day.
Very cool.
Just real easy.
Nice.
I apologize for the interruption. That was a good segue because it was about the interior doors here at PBHQ. Which Big Bird? I'm looking to my right, your left. The very first day, I think it was the very first day well, it wasn't the very first day because the very first day the Harley rake skid steer had it stuck. But the very first day I was spreading the stone, you stopped by and gave me a hand. And from that day on, you've been more than generous with your help.
I'm gonna watch this grow.
You've been more than generous.
I set it all up. I'm gonna let y'all knock it out of the park. You've done well. This is beautiful.
Well, I had no idea about Phil. We got some of Goody Hill's best.
Oh, we're only gonna get 20 loads of Phil. No, you're not.
No.
Not the distance you had to go.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that's what it said on the paper.
Yeah.
Again, it's not my world.
The engineer, right?
Dirt work and road work. The biggest machine out there on the highway. I ran for like 8 years and then did dirt work. Back when I was doing it, I actually would have did it for free. I mean, you're out there with major pieces of earth equipment. When we worked one winter down in Ocean City, beach replenishment.
Yep.
And we had off-road trunks, and you were just drive up and down the beach.
That'd be cool.
Nice to get paid for it too.
Yeah, that would be cool. But yeah, we couldn't.
Well, like everything, it is a job after a while. It can be the funniest thing in the world, but sooner or later, it's a job.
Well, thank you. What is this? Oh my goodness.
Oi. Here.
This might really need to be edited.
Duke, here. Duke, here.
I believe this is going to be delivery number 2 of the Pioneer system.
Oh, really? Yeah. There you go.
Duke.
Kennel.
We're going to have to do some editing.
Oh, he's a good dog. He knows how to go in the kennel.
I'll be right back.
Man, take your time. I'm just hanging.
Love, please talk amongst yourselves.
Hey, we can talk about him. I remember when you guys were dating. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Man, we were at Harborside any opportunity we could
wedding.
get.
I remember that wedding to this day. That was a great time.
It was a great wedding. He still has yet to print the pictures from the wedding.
Is he really?
Yeah, doesn't have them. But yeah, it's all about memories. That's what I got. It was a wonderful day.
Like I said, I was your chauffeur for the day.
Yep, chauffeur. Walked me down the sandy aisle.
Yeah, get the crippled guy to help you walk. And you were in heels, right?
No, I was in flip-flops.
Flip-flops,
I had my
right.
flip-flops. Yeah, that was a great day.
Yeah, Jeff always cracks me up. The only one I know, and he's snow on the ground. He's got shorts and flip-flops going by you.
Yeah, I don't know. He definitely runs
He
hot.
loves it.
Yeah, he does.
He'll get older. It'll catch up with him.
He's getting there. Keeps saying he's an old guy.
It is part number 2.
Oh, good.
Box number 2.
Good. That means more work.
More work.
More money, more work.
What are you going to do when it's over? You're going to sit back and enjoy it.
I don't think it'll ever be over. That's why.
Tomato plants?
Yep. Tomatoes.
Duke?
That's a in the little barrel thing. Some cherry tomatoes. There was we had some growing over at Pintail. And,
Tomatoes, huh?
Tomatoes. And it was such a good producer last year that we stole the little what do you call them? That little sapling,
We call them in the tomato world volunteers.
Volunteer.
They were volunteers.
Yeah, so we snagged those, brought them over here. They're taken off. The other one we have is some plum tomatoes. That's our salsa.
Yeah.
One there. Yeah, we're gonna make our own salsa. So.
Pepper.
Yep.
Apologize for all that confusion. That was part number 2, box number 2 for the Pioneer mini split.
Nice.
So
for the carving room.
So we can have some heat and air conditioning in the carving room.
Jeff
so
can
hopefully
work and has no excuses.
Hopefully I can be more productive.
Yes.
Hopefully. That means, fingers are crossed.
Yep. Let me get the dog out. Is he gonna get mad?
Oh, I think he's still going to go run and chase the FedEx truck. He's going to want to go.
We ain't gonna go far.
Yeah. The very first time the fence is not complete, he didn't understand it. He did whack the metal. And how much did that cost us for the eye contusion?
Oh, about $450. Yep, scratched his eyeball. Yep, wouldn't heal.
He's a beautiful beast, though.
He's a muscle.
Yeah, he's thick.
I still say if he had a set of balls, I would parade that dog around because he is handsome.
And he would be a bigger asshole, right, buddy?
He's limping.
Yeah, that's his front leg. We don't know what's. He has a cancerous tumor growing on there. We've had it taken off, but it's already grown back. So I don't know if it's associated with that or what the deal is. But it's all about quality of life.
Or just Duke being Duke.
Duke being Duke.
Yeah.
Do you have more questions for Big Bird? Because I have a question.
Go, shoot, love, go.
Snakehead.
Oh yes, good. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So it really isn't about, because I'm totally interested in this whole snakehead thing. I want to go give it a try, because we did do the Mollies. They had a fishing
seminar on snakehead fishing.
They did, which totally piqued my interest, and now I want to try. And I asked Josh, who was here earlier. He's a native too of the area. If he knew anywhere in this immediate area where there was snakehead, he wasn't familiar with it. So you're the fishing guy. Where are they at? Are they around here?
You gotta go up by Cambridge.
Okay.
They're up in the back. They are. I mean, we have them here. They have, now I'm religious about going down to the Pocomoke River.
Yep.
In the springtime and stuff. We haven't really seen many down there.
Interesting.
Farther down the Pocomoke River, like they're down by Pocomoke City and stuff. I've heard they've had them more down there. But if you really want to get them, you go up around Cambridge. The wildlife refuge up there and stuff, around the bridges in there.
Blackwater.
There
I Googled it earlier today.
You go up there and you ride around, and where they're at, you'll know it because you'll see the other people there sitting there fishing.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm gonna do
I haven't
this.
caught one yet. I've been invited to 2 different trips, and I am going to go because one of my favorite things to do, that's why I like bluefish so much, is surface. If you find a school of bluefish boiling, or even rockfish too, you can throw a surface popper out there and work it through. And it was with Scotty on one of the TV shows. We had 30-inch bluefish coming out of the water, and
oh really?
The blues, a popper, they'll actually bite it so hard they'll bust it right in half sometimes. I got one home that was busted in half by a bluefish, and if it weren't for the front troubles, I wouldn't have got it. And I had to dig the other ones out of the blue. But those snakeheads, they've moved in. It's like the blue cats too. They're not from here. They get them and kill them, and you know that's all they say.
I'm gonna go do it. I'm doing it.
But they say they're delicious.
That's what we've heard.
Everybody tells me they're delicious.
Yeah. And we love fish, so we just haven't.
We just haven't fished since October 2021.
I can't.
Well, the flounder are moving in thick.
Oh, really?
It's good to see the flounder. Here it is summer. It really is. We're into summer, and we're out here. I'm comfortable. Most of the time I'm out here this time of year. It's sweaty. It's hot, but we're still getting cold fronts, and the water hasn't warmed up.
Yeah. What about all this fresh water? We just got all this rain. What's that going to do to the flounder or any of the fish?
It'll still be fine.
It's not going to flush them out.
No, because the ground's so dry. We needed this rain so bad.
Yeah, true.
The farmers are just clicking their heels, boy. They're taking like I say, I still got a lot of farmland that I help take care of and stuff, and we needed this rain.
Okay.
This rain ain't done nothing but.
Well,
and then this weekend you've got the kayak tournament.
Okay.
You've got the small boat tournament, the Marlin Club small boat tournament this weekend. I've won that 3 years in a row with a couple that they got with me years ago, and they always wanted to do this tournament. I don't care, we'll go. They're friends of mine. They got a daughter that's special. I mean, I love her to death. She's a trip, and they might want me to do the kids classic with her. She's old enough to do the kids classic this year, so I'm thinking about maybe taking her. If they want to do it.
Yeah.
I don't
Nice.
know. And Saturday's going to be kind of messy, but Sunday's going to be fishable. Sunday, there's going to be so many people out there. Oh, man.
You haven't even looked at the weather that far ahead, but Sunday's meant to be good. Nice.
Oh, yeah. Sunday's
Nice.
beautiful.
Good.
First hurricane's going into the Gulf. That second one looks like it's turning north.
Well,
Just wait and see.
I'm scared to death. I don't say it often, but this year it needs to cool off. What brings hurricanes here is hot water. Well, everything around us is boiling, really.
Oh,
I mean, my dad's a heat lover. That's why he's in Fort Myers, Florida. He even told me the other day, "Oh, it's getting hot down here," which ain't good. That means that water temperature is getting. I mean, I've seen the water temperature 80s up here and stuff, and that scares you because warm water draws hurricanes.
Okay.
The only thing saves us half times that Chesapeake Bay. They always talk about the hurricanes coming across and coming up, and you watch that wind. If the wind's blowing out the Chesapeake, a lot of times that'll save us.
Push it off.
But a lot of times it'll suck it right up that Chesapeake. That'll follow that.
That's
I've
happened
seen more,
too.
and then it comes in us at a different direction. That's when it messes up things around here.
Well, hopefully. I mean, I love watching a good storm, I have to
Oh,
say.
I do too. I've been in there being Uncle Don, a native man around here. It was us and the National Guard because I was the pier tender down on Dorchester Street, Talbot Street. I just tended the piers, and if a piling broke loose, you just roped it off.
Okay.
Well, the National Guard come up and we're like, "What are y'all doing here?" And we're walking down the boardwalk getting shit-faced going, "We're watching a hurricane, But I was going down.
That's the fun stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting at the bar. Well, I think the Purple Moose kind of, they
we used
stay
to have
open year round.
I remember the bars around. We had a hurricane party. There's a hurricane party. Shut the doors. Let's have a party.
All right, Bert, a great segue. Thank you for bringing it because I would have forgot it. Give me a story, a good story about not Harborside, but the Dewdrop Inn.
The dewdrop.
Oh, no, what was Harborside called before?
Stumbling in.
Stumbling in, excuse me. The Dewdrop Inn was up on Route 7 north of Baltimore, excuse me.
That's right. Now, that's where the Dewdrop Inn was.
That's where the
I didn't
Dewdrop Inn.
get-
The Stumble In.
The Stumbling
Give me a
In.
good story there.
It was, well...
G-rated, please.
Oh, no, ain't no problem. But there was 3 different bars in this area. That when I got old, I was 15-year-old, I could walk in any bar. I'd held my head up high and walk right in. Nobody questioned me. And but there was 3 bars around here. You had the Pine Cone Inn, which is right down the street from here. You had the Harbor, the Stumbling Inn, which is the one I'm getting ready to go back to, and you had the Harbor Inn down in Ocean City, which is the oldest bar in Ocean City, still open. It's as big as Dye, but still. But if you went there on a Friday or Saturday night, you got shot, you got stabbed, you're going to see a fight. There weren't no doubt there was going to be a fight. But that night I was at the Stumbling Inn.
Harborside.
And Harborside.
Just
Stumbling In,
people don't know
same place.
Harborside.
I've got the Easy Rider magazine. I took the roving editor there when it was the Stumbling In. And there's a full picture of me in the Easy Rider magazine in front of it, Stumbling In. But we were there one night, and the owners had if one was having too much fun, the other one was mad. The other one was having too much fun, the other was mad. And they were hardcore Jack drinkers.
Okay.
I like to have a drink every once in a while. I don't mess with the dark stuff.
Oh, come on.
I'll stay with tequila. I'll stay with my Coors Light. But so we're in there, all those biker guys. We're out on our motorcycles, and he whips a Jack and Coke at his wife, throws it at her.
Oh, jeez.
Well, he hits me. And he come over and gives me a shove. What are you going to do about it? Well, back then, the edge of the bar was next to the bay. And I'm like, asshole. I just gave him a push, and overboard he went. And I knew all the bouncers. I knew everybody there, and they're like, Bird, I think you better. I know I'm leaving, man. I just threw the owner overboard. But yeah, But yeah, if you wanted to see a knife, well, you had guys that worked the boats down there, had been out in the ocean for a week.
Oh gosh.
They wanted to get drunk, they wanted to get laid, they wanted to have a good time, and if you got in their face, they cut you. They all had these blades, and they could work a knife. I mean, they work on them boats cleaning fish, doing this every day, and their knives are sharp, and they will cut you. Yeah, I was forbidden as a kid. Don't you never go to them places? And of course, first place I went was coming in, stumbling in the harbor side. Oh yeah. But that was the stumbling in back in the day. It was you walked in, you stumbled out. That's why it was called stumbling in.
When did it change names?
Oh, I'm not sure how many years ago that was. Like I said, the husband and wife kept getting into fights, and they ended up selling it out.
Okay.
Well, I was going to say we've been to Harborside at least. I bet you're pushing 30 years because I know it wasn't that long ago they had their 25th anniversary, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So remember in the fall maybe it's late, maybe it's September. Yeah, fall. They have their.
There's only a few bars around here that stayed the same. But
That's a good while then. And you think it's the same owners all the time?
92.
No. When it turned from the stumbling into Harborside.
It was
but the Harborside.
Yes, it's definitely Harborside is the same owner. Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
it was
cool.
92 when they did the Easy Rider. It's the issues of 92.
Lloyd and Wall are the same owners, 100%. So
when the roving editor of Easy Rider, he wanted to see what raising chickens was like. He was a California boy. Ain't never seen that like no raising chickens. I said, well, I got you covered, brother. Come on. 2 steps into that chicken house and 4 steps out. He goes, oh, no way. He goes, how do you deal? And I'm like, hey, man, you want to see what raising chickens is about? Come on, we're going to go. There's a thing called cutting calls. And I used to have I think it's called a wedge, a golf club. And I took a grinder and sharpened it. And if you seen a crippled chicken, you seen one messed up, you had to kill it. If you didn't kill it, Purdue and all the other growers would give you grief. So you sit there and take that golf club and you take his head right off. Oh, they didn't. I've had people just flip out on me for that. I mean, they either grab by the legs and smack their head, drop them in a bucket. And you were supposed to scald them. And you took them out and you scalded them, then you could feed them to the hogs.
Okay.
So every chicken farm around had 30 or 40 hogs somewhere, and you fed them to dead chickens.
Huh.
I looked for it the other day. Donald Hughes, way back in the day, told me the webpage was delmarva.com. It was everything about the Delmarva, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia Peninsula, delmarva.com. And they had a thing called the chicken counter on there. And believe this or not, there was upwards anywhere from 900,000 to 1 million chickens processed in a single day.
Yes.
And I tried to find it the other day, and I could not find it because I was curious, like, is this chicken counter still? But anyway. Chicken farming is
the processing plants. It's incredible, and the amount of time. It used to be 12 weeks to grow a full-size chicken. You're doing it in 8, 7. Wow. Like I said, bending bottle cobs. You should have seen me back in the day when I was working with the chicken feed. Your hands just got numb, turned them yellow.
Huh.
It's all the chemicals in it. And I ain't gonna say the company, but. One of them always brags about the bright. They got the prettiest breasts. Well, yeah, we put bleach in their water. They're going to turn bright white inside. Yeah, you bleach them. I mean, literally, you got gallons of bleach you pour in their water and it bleaches out the chicken.
Well, Fred West Farms actually sat in this chair last night and had a few. Well, he started with Rural Farms Coffee and somehow he switched over to Bush Light. I'm not really sure how that happened, but yeah, he's got some good chicken stories. He is. My mother calls him the Chicken Man. Gan calls him. Has the Chicken Man been over?
That's interesting.
The funniest is right down the street from you, the old hatchery. He used to take all the eggs and hatch them. Now it's growing pot.
And that's growing too. They've put up at least 3 more hothouses.
It's crazy. And, my best friend and me, he lived right down the street, John Franklin. He's pulling life in prison now. That's my buddy. But we could go there at night, and there's a tunnel that you could crawl through this tunnel. You came right up in the chicken plant.
Oh, yeah.
He lived right down the street from me. As kids, we were BB guns walking the ditches. Hey, where's that pipe go? Oh, man. It came right up in there. But
so our new neighbor Max was up here. He had his dog Spuds, who looks like Spuds McKenzie.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. But I'm dating myself for sure. But if anybody knows Spuds McKenzie, his dog Spud looks like Spuds McKenzie. Spuds looks like Spuds McKenzie. But anyway, he was talking about different things in the area. And I said, man, Big Bird says we got this stuff. And I was like, I can't remember what it's called. And he's like, is it the devil lettuce? And I was like, I don't know. I said, but I know he told me we should not tell anybody from the cities that we have this on the property. So anyway, I never told you this, Karen, but I did Google it. Jimson weed. Jimson weed. That is what we had.
The little prickly balls.
Yeah, man. When the big pile of all the topsoil we stripped for the pad site here, it was the big pile. And when we were doing the fill, you went down there and it was the big old
a big prickly ball.
Well, but the big flower.
Yeah,
and
the
you were
big
like,
white flower.
Man, like, do you know what you got? I was like, no, I don't know what I had.
Jimson weed.
Jimson weed. He said, you better stay away from that stuff. And if you recall, Karen, I was sick one night. I was like, oh my goodness, man, like I got that, like in the skid steer, like I hit it or I breathed it or I touched it or something, and I just had a good fever for some reason.
It'll mess you up bad. And the double sticks, the little trees that got all the pricklies go up to it, they do something. I mean, those city people can find more ways to get yourself trashed. I never understood them, but, I mean, to us, if you mess with Jim's, he'd kill you. And I mean, you got the swamp that goes back here to Delaware line. You can take back there.
Josh was
the old
just telling us
haunted
about
trees back there. And there's one they call it the witch's tree. It's back there. Oh, that's a pretty wild thing to go back there around the old witch's tree. And when I was young, I had a little flat bottom boat, and we'd go over to Ocean City, pick up some girls, and we could go up and right when Route 90 was brand new. I mean, 90 was not even open to the public yet. You could go up there and anchor. And you could hear the big black drumming underneath of it at night.
Really?
And we'd tell the girls, it's the spirit of the bay, you know. You hear this on the ear.
Wow.
What the? And then we
cool.
catch one. They're like, oh, wow, you know.
Dookie just heard you doing it. He wasn't sure what was up with that
What's
noise.
up,
Look at him. Bird, when I first met you, you had a flip phone. Now you have an iPhone, so I know you are heavily into social media. Tell everyone who's listening how they can follow along with you. Please tell us.
I'm not good with it.
Fishing Folks.
Oh, Fishing Folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my daughters and the Roy Rig Company. That's Fishing Folks. They can follow along with that. I don't put much stuff on there.
And it's
I do
fish.
Facebook more than anything and put pictures up, and I send pictures to a lot of the coastal fishermen, Scotty, first fishermen. I make it my habit. I want to see everybody catch a fish. I love to see people catch fish, the first timers, the people have never fished like I do. I mean, my mother, when she was around, we had my stepfather was Bill Chester. He was missing his hand about here. He had a nub there. Well, he never fished like I did before, and I got him into fishing, pulling him in, and learning your seasons around here. We got a season that should be coming up any day, where the little bluefish and the shad come schooling in thousands. You catch two at a time. You catch one bluefish and a shad at the same time. And we're down at, I didn't have a boat back then, and I take my mom and him down to on what we call Stinky Beach. And it's right there where the millionaire houses are now. And Mom would sit in her chair and do her crocheting. And Bill, I'd help my stepfather out there. And he's casting. He wore this rubber outfit. So when he'd catch he'd use his nub to reel, and he'd work the rod with this hand. But when he'd catch a fish, he'd hold it against that rubber suit.
All right.
Well, he was unhooking it, and he pierced his nipple.
Oh, no.
Oh, he's swallowed. I'm like, and he's got nitrous pills, I'm like, oh, geez. So I put my rod down, and Mom's laughing so hard, she falls out of her chair. So do you go help Mom up out of the sand? And she's going, go help him, go help him. Ah! She's rolling. So I walked out, and I cut the bottom fish off, and I unhooked it, threw it back. And I looked down at him, I go, hey, Mom wants to see. And about the time he turned that head, I popped that hook out of his nipple. And bird didn't go in, but it had him. And he looked at me with a tear in his eye, and I'm like, I'm getting the nitrous out just in case, And I gave him a bottle of water, and he looks and goes, can I catch one fish at a time for a while? Sure, man. Sure. He was okay, but I mean, then I had to go pick Mom up out of the sand. That was the funniest thing I ever seen.
Oh my gosh.
We've had so many times down, and like I say, that place Stinky Beach, that's where the Roy Rig got invented. A friend of mine that worked the highway department, he was a state inspector, that all us guys, if we were working around building Ocean Pines roads back in the day, Route 90 was brand new, it's falling apart now. And we were all worked on them job sites, but we'd all end up down to Stinky Beach at night, have a beer or two, sit out there on the middle of the rock pile, just have fun. And my friend Roy Van Breckel, that's his name, very religious, great person. He showed up with the Riptide tail. It was a freshwater. He just came back from Florida and said, "Bird, what do you think of these tails?" Man, I love it. It's the perfect size. It matches the shiner. It matches the shad. You match your bait to what you're going to use. And I'm like, that same day, I burnt the hairs off a bucktail and rigged it up on that. And it was working okay, but it just weren't swimming right. And then I started messing around with melting lead and short shanking the hooks. And then I finally made one and made my sister mad as fire, but I hadn't sharpened it up, but I still had the plastic condom on it. And I was at her house with my diving gear and having my daughter swim it by me in the pool so I could see how this thing was swimming. And I don't know why it worked so good, but it did. I mean, it
does work.
Oh yeah. I mean, and I was notorious. I was the worst person for the business because I'd literally give them away a lot of times. Here, try one. I was a big Roy Rig dealer, you know, man. Once you tried them and you caught a bunch of fish, you bought 4 or 5 packs. I mean,
yeah, because they work. And if you get into a bunch of blues, guess what? You'll need
you're
more.
kissing tails goodbye.
Yep.
And well, that's why February, November, February, they have all these fishermen's flea markets around here. Well, then when I go to those, you got the bass fishermen stuff. They're letting these packs of $5 tails go for $1 a pack. Well, when the bluefish get in there like that, I'm not going to use that $1 Riptide tail. I'm going to use this other tail and just throw it, because they'll hit bluefish when they're schooling like that. They'll hit anything.
Yeah,
I've had them hit the bare hook.
I was going to say, you could throw a head out.
That's right. You did a thing with Scotty that time and got one on a bare hook.
You could throw the head out there and it gets them. Anything in the water they bite.
Anything flashing around, they'll bust it.
Moving.
That's why spec rig. That's the goofiest, stupid little rig. But hey, when they're feeding like that, chunk it out, or you'll catch 2 at a time.
It's fun. You done love fishing.
Oh, good God. From freshwater fishing to surf fishing with my grandfather. I got pictures of my grandmother and me with just bluefish riding on the roof of his old Jeep down the beach. You're going down the roof. You're on the roof. And you'd spot, he'd teach you how to look in the waves and see the fish running and see him. You'd be banging on that roof. Don't you hit that roof so hard? You know, he's screaming at you and you pull over and you just start,
That's how I grew up. We would, drive down the beach and,
look
and
for
surf
him.
fish. Yeah, well, we would go for whiting. I don't know.
Whiting?
Yes. So, that's what we would target. That or brim, swallowtail. But, yeah.
I'm still betting there's going to be a tarpon caught up here soon.
Okay.
I'm halfway betting there'll be a tarpon caught here. They're catching them in Virginia.
Okay.
The water temperature here is moving up so thick. My friends from Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, all they're bragging about is the rockfish run they're having. They're having giant rock. The rockfish are following that cooler water.
So our very good friend, our very good friends, but specifically Geoff on PEI, which is actually up and around New Brunswick, and they're catching rock. Well, they call them stripers, but they've got a good run of stripers up there.
Yeah. There's a canal in Connecticut. I want to fish something. You ride bicycles around and you surf fish from the rock pile and catch 50-inch stripers. And I mean, they're schooled up thick in this. That's a bucket list. I'll be up there one day.
It's not that far for you to go.
Oh, I know.
All right.
I'm lazy. When the weather really sucks around here, if the fishing's good up there, I'll go north somewhere. But I'm supposed to be getting home right now, but I didn't go to Laconia. I was supposed to go to Laconia Bike Week 100th anniversary.
Where's that, Laconia? Where is that?
Up above Connecticut. Connecticut. I think so. It's way up there. And I just got friends that my house is sometime a spot for like the Canadians and all the New Yorkers and Massachusetts when they're heading down south for the winter. They stop over and enjoy Ocean City a little bit, and then they can go down, and everybody gets a kick out of the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you got those 2 tunnels you ride through, and if you've never done it, it's a rush.
It is 100%.
Yeah, because you're going, and now they got 2 new tunnels being made. The tunnels are being made in Germany and going to float them across.
What?
Yeah.
Serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I have to interject. So for those who don't know, this is worth you Googling the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, which actually be plural because there's 2 tunnels. It is, I'm probably not going to get it exactly right, but basically 20 miles across the mouth of the Chesapeake Bay from the Delmarva, the eastern shore of Virginia, to Virginia Beach, the mainland of Virginia. It is the mouth of Chesapeake Bay.
Yep.
And it is a bridge that you drive, and it's the craziest thing. And all of a sudden, you go down in a tunnel, and you're underwater for probably a good mile, and you come back up, and you're on a bridge again. You drive, and you go back into a second tunnel. The second tunnel, you're southbound. The second tunnel, you're actually able to stop and get off and have a little bit of a restrooms. I don't know if the restaurant's still there or not, but basically get off and take a look around and see.
Sightseeing area.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because you generally and typically just to the west of you is Norfolk, which is a big naval base. So there's always big naval well, there's ships coming up in the Chesapeake Bay, container ships.
You'll see them.
But there's always a heavy influence of Navy vessels
And that's
there.
why the tunnels, because they couldn't build a bridge tall enough, right?
Exactly.
To go so that the boats can go.
But be careful, because the state of Maryland with their why I don't know why. You got the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel. Well, then you got the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. You named this bridge the same name, and they're like 4 hours apart. You know, I'm like, and friends of mine that come down all the time. How come it took us all the way up to Route 50? And I'm like, you didn't cross Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel. Because it's 27 mile long.
100%.
Yeah. And that, and taking the ferry boat ride up to New Jersey. That's a fun trip around here too. If you ever never done it, that ferry boat ride to Jersey.
Lewis to Cape May.
Yeah, I've got to do it one day.
The Bay Bridge in Maryland would take you from Annapolis, which is the state capital.
Yep.
I'm going to say it's 7 miles across, I believe, to get you to Kent Island or the Eastern Shore.
And the bridge moves.
Well, and
They call it the walking bridge.
and it's a tall one too. There's the old span and a new span. So the old
rode
span,
Harleys across it, and you hit a traffic jam, you could feel that thing up there.
Stop.
And it's built to move. It's got to move, or it'll bust apart. They say.
Yeah, some high wind. They have wind warning, all that kind of stuff.
Yes, you will not cross either one of the bridges with a 27 to a 30 mile an hour ridge. They will stop you, but they got great rest stops. I've slept out of bed coming home from Florida from bike week, get caught at that rest stop, no problem, man. I'll just go to sleep somewhere.
Yeah, it's one of the scary bridges for sure. It's up there.
well, Big Bird, Craig Cropper. We thank you very much. First off, Karen and I, we more than appreciate all that you've done for us over the years with fishing and/or right here at PBHQ. And man, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much. If you would ever like to come back, please do so. And we are going to make Aussie meat pies. We need to get 100.
yeah,
yes.
Yeah,
we need to get 100% finished
you
inside.
always ask me, what are you from? Me? Tell your wife make me some
That's-
Australian
I
cooking.
have not
I'm
forgotten.
I've had
to do it.
Louisiana, I had Florida, I've learned how to deep fry this and that. I love going to different places.
No,
I rode to Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, to see a buddy of mine for a big wedding festival they were having. They really wanted me to come up, so I rode my Harley up there. And Brian, he took me over to introduce me to his family, and they're like, "Oh, you're the boys that rode up from Maryland." Yes, man. How'd you like some New Brunswick home cooking? Well, sure, they had cabbage wraps.
Okay.
Oh my, they were. Oh yeah, I hurt myself with that, and I'm sitting there eating this cabbage wrap, and I didn't notice the tree. I had a tree behind me, and I lost my left foot years ago. Got completely crushed on a bike wreck, and I'm a leaner. Well, I walked back towards that tree, and I got ready to lean, and sure enough, a guy said, "Don't." And I didn't pay him no money. What do you mean, don't? I leaned into it, and I literally glued myself to the tree. The sap in that tree was coming out. So I never saw it. And I literally peeled myself off the tree, and I went and found my buddy. I said, "Man, it was a great meeting y'all. I'll be right back in a minute." And they're all I know they're laughing. They watched me glue myself to this tree, and I got long hair, and I didn't have my hat on. I mean, literally, and my buddy Brian says, "Right now, just go get in the shower." And it all came right out, but
wow.
man, it was gross.
Oh, yuck.
Literally, the sap in those trees up there was just,
What kind of tree is it?
I don't know.
You don't know.
A glue tree, because it glued me to it. I mean, when I felt my hair, I could stand off from it, and my hair was like still stuck to the tree, and I'm trying to pull it off, and I'm ripping my hair.
I let Karen handle the Anzac cookies, but I do enjoy trying to make a meat pie because that's something good.
Meat pie,
And when the first time flying over, we get to the airport in Sydney, and Karen's like, "You want to have a meat pie?" And I'm thinking like I can't remember what the commercial brand would be, but like a pot pie.
Pot pie, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm thinking, I don't know if it's really for me. She's like, no, these are really good. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And then we went and actually saw them, like, oh my goodness, man, this is just freaking meat and meat and meat. I was like, yeah.
And pastry.
Yeah, pastry.
Yep.
Yeah, meat and pastry. So.
I was in Amsterdam one year. I won the Easy Rider Rodeo, and it got me free tickets to go over for a bike show over there. And I'm like, cool. But then they got mad because I wouldn't let them take my bike over. No, I'm taking my bike to Europe, and I never get it back. But so I'm walking around Amsterdam. I'm trashed, and I wanted something to eat bad. And all I could think of was chocolate eclair. I walked into this place. The ladies are all speaking Dutch, friendly as can be, and I'm a big redneck from Maryland. I don't even speak English right. And I walked up and I went, chocolate eclair. The lady lit right up, knew exactly. And I held my hand out and she plucked. Their coins are $5, $2.50, $1. I mean, I don't know one. And she was being honest. She got her money. And it looked like a Big Mac with a fork stuck in it. I mean, it was literally, I was like, that'll do, man. I had it all over me. It was so funny.
Man, I'm getting hungry talking about all this food.
Oh, boy.
Well, again, Big Bird, we appreciate you being on with us. Thank you very much. This is the Pitboss Podcast, brought to you by Molly's Place Sporting Goods, Crabs to Go, Duck Blind Bistro, Dirty Duck Coffee, and Steve, you're not last in my heart because I'm in the world's largest duck boat, Steve Hoover Duckwater Boats. Big Bird, we will have you back, and for nothing else, I'm going to make you a meat pie, or I'm sorry,
yes.
Karen. We will make you a meat pie.
Yep.
So.
Got to keep it authentic.
Thank you for being on with us tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
thank you very much. As always, thinking you do it.
Thinking of you, we are.
Boom.